So next up, I'm going to have a chat to a guy that we had up on stage earlier. Just to refresh your memory, this is his Google Chrome ad that at current look has had 7 million views.
What are you doing filming me? Jamal!
My stamina's healthy, so it's music, no more beating the shows. Not just in it for the peas and the gold. I'm just a kid who dreams bigger than the rest. Now I'm living them correct, here sitting in the F.
SB, if you need a bar, then get me.
Educate yourself, see it's not the money you make. It's compulsory, some are calling it poetry. SBTV.
But you never catch me. Explosive. Style, don't think I'm a blow. I get therapy now.
SBTV.
SBTV was in, man.
I rise up, be like a train. Choo choo, go hard, go faster. Stack peas every day. I rise up.
And to give you more of an idea of what Jamal's all about, he once convinced his agent that me and him are cousins. It's not bad, not bad. I think his agent still believes that. So, do you keep a close eye then? Like you're in the music space in a big way. Do you keep a close eye on tech developments in that area, or do you just keep doing what you're doing?
I try and keep when I first started, I kept my eyes on everything too much, which actually affected what SBTV was. I remember when I was trying to branch out of doing underground music, and I was waiting outside a Mayfair hotel for Kelly Rowland. And as we went in there, MTV was in there. I was quite fascinated with how MTV set up their shoots of all the cameras, the equipment, everything. And after that, that was the big turning point in stop trying to focus on other things and letting in all these other things. And I always said, like, chase your dreams, not the competition. And I was always looking at the competition, trying to think how I can be better than them and not actually focusing on what I had myself. But now I try and keep it ear to the ground. I've got people around me that sort of download everything on the internet and then just tell me what's going on, really. Yeah. But I still try to keep my ear to the ground.
When did you first realise that SBTV was going to blow up in a big way?
When I could leave my top man job.
Yeah,
I was
good indicator.
It's mad because I was saying earlier, it's a 360. I've now got a range of self-belief hats in top man, and it was like when I was working, I got a job at 16, and I did a 2 weeks work experience first. And then my YouTube check started coming in, and I said to my mum, look, I've got hundreds of pounds, let me leave Top Man. It's like, no, it's not sustainable income, what is YouTube, all this? And I was like, please, if I leave, I can build it and keep on building it. And I think I've got a check, which was as much as what I was getting in Top Man, and I was like, look, mum, please. And then she finally let me free.
I love the idea, you just begging to leave Top Man.
Yeah,
Please,
no.
Mum.
You know what, Top Man actually, as a person, made me much more open than what I was. I was quite a closed person, and I went to the internet to sort of voice my opinion because I didn't feel like anyone wanted to listen to what I said, and that's why I started my YouTube channel. But in Top Man, you had to go out to random people that you never met and said, do you want a store card? And that was the most frightening thing ever. And it was just that helped. I definitely think Top Man's been a part of my journey.
What has given you your business savvy? Did you always knew that you had it, or?
I think it's just from soaking up everything. I say I'm like a sponge. I try and soak everything up and give it back to my audience. And there's loads of events that I do. Literally just got back from Monaco from the World Entrepreneur of the Year event, and I met so many people. And I soaked that all up, and that's what sort of has made me brand myself more as an entrepreneur. Because people used to look at me and not really think that I could be an entrepreneur. But I always say now it's a digipreneur. I don't know, digital entrepreneur. And I sort of just try and push that message as much as I can, but YouTube has allowed me to brand myself in a way where it's not me being looked at as talent, but more as a businessman and trying to keep on scaling business.
And do you think that a big part of your success was being an early adopter? Because you got on YouTube in 2006, right?
Yeah, when I was about 15, that's when I first opened it. And I say, yeah, there was a gap in the market, but I always look at content now of having like the 6 shareable factors, like either being entertaining, funny, scary, not covered by the mainstream media, nostalgic, or something else. And I always said if my content hits at least 2 of those, which at that time was entertaining and not being covered by the mainstream media, I can build a business off the back of it.
And so does that mean, like you say, you do need to keep an eye on that mainstream media to make sure that you're not doing too much of a crossover, because then you lose your USP, I guess?
Yeah, like trying to keep the balance, and that's what I'm trying to do at the moment, is try and do the underground stuff, but also do a little bit of the mainstream stuff. But an underlying message that I try and put through everything is self-belief. So a person overcoming their problems, or a person trying to inspire self-belief, and that can be applied to music, fashion, comedy, sport, business, and that's what hopefully I'm going to do for like the next 10 years maybe. Everyone says, I always look at the power of now, but everyone says, oh, what's your 5-year, 10-year? And I just think, yeah, whatever. Let's just like build it.
Just get on with now.
Yeah, just go with the flow. Like,
the future will look after itself, right?
Yeah, no, not like that. But I always try and I used to get lost in the future and not actually focusing on what I had in front of me, and that was like a big lesson that I learned.
What have you made of the recent emergence of things like Tidal and Apple's new music service?
I think it's very exciting, but I still think I'm trying to think of an angle of all these other, I look at Dave and Goliath, they're like the huge companies, and there's obviously like a small company that might overtake them, but with sort of the bigger companies, it's always the talent that you attach to it. So I'm always trying to find talent before they even hit Tidal or Apple's sort of awareness of the artist. So I don't know, it's very exciting. I think it just needs a bit of a buzz in the music scene.
So, and allegedly very different to the way that Apple are going about it.
Yeah.
I think I did say allegedly, so I'm okay. Your success has led to a lot of other opportunities outside of the sort of core business of SBTV. Do you feel a lot of responsibility? Because you're kind of held up as being this sort of voice of the youth in a way, aren't you?
Yeah. More recently, I've sort of taken it on board. Like in the space of today, I had like an email from the Secretary of State for the UK, and Michelle Obama's coming over next week, so they wanted me to make a video about getting more girls into education. And this stuff happens like every week, and it's like, in my head, I'm always thinking like less is more, but I feel like I've got opportunity in front of me, I've got to take it and try and give it back to the audience, but I do it in a way where it's not bridging the gap. So like when I got asked to, I remember I was, a couple of years ago, I bumped into, there was a panel, and it was like Ken Livingstone, Ed Balls, Ed Miliband, and I went up to Ed Miliband after, I was like, oh, I want an interview for my channel. To everyone else, I was thinking, what the hell are you doing? But he turned around to me and said yes, and I was using that as an opportunity to sort of bridge the gap. And I've learned from that interview. I went there with like headphones around my ear and like a SBTV chain. I was like, I'll never do that again. It's sort of, that was a part of the history. But I always look at these opportunities as trying to use it to sort of better my audience and educate them in a way.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Maybe do a couple. If anyone's got one? No? No questions for Jamal? Yes, one question from gentleman at the back.
Hey Jamal, I work for Warner Music, so I'd just like to say firstly, thank you for everything you do for new music, and in particular Ed Sheeran. You gave him a great start, so yeah, that's why we love coming to these things. Just can you talk a little bit about discovering new talent as one of the sort of unique positions of SBTV? Is that something you look for first and foremost?
Yeah, I always, even when I'm outside and I see people busking on the street, I always get everyone's details, because I never have a rock unturned. And I think I get a lot of, at the moment, I get an influx of people that are sending me music, but I'm always trying to focus on the up-and-coming ones more than the mainstream ones. I use the mainstream ones because it's always good to get a name on there, but I'm always trying to find talent before they hit the mainstream. Where I find it is just from, a lot of it is in my email. I've got like 50,000 emails to go through, so it just like packs up. But I don't know, I guess I try and get talent from everywhere. What was your question? I'm trying to get your answer.
The question was, your fascination is really discovering new talent rather than just Yeah, your fascination is discovering new talent rather than amplifying the big names.
Yeah, because everyone, I think, they don't really want to hear... I think everyone cares about a big name. I look at it like, if you're at home in your bedroom and you find an artist that only has about 5,000 views, you're much more excited to share it to your friends and say, I shared this first, than having someone that's got millions of views. And I've taken that research in from my audience. I find that when videos are smaller and then in 3 months got hundreds of thousands of views, the early adopters are like, oh my God, we find it first. And that's sort of a badge against the whole social community of saying, oh, we found this first, we're a part of the journey. And that's the same for the Google Chrome advert. When people started watching that, they feel like they've contributed to the success of SBTV, and I always try and make sure that I'm taking them along the journey with them. But yeah, I always try and, it's always about up-and-coming musicians for me, yeah, definitely.
Great, thank you.
Yes, just one more question for this lady here.
Hi, Jamal.
Hello.
My name is Sophia, and I'm from a social news magazine called Blasting News. So, as a fellow media person, I'm wondering, how are you bringing revenue to your channel? So, are you doing normal advertising, native advertising, sponsorships, and what are your revenue generation plans for the future?
So at the moment, my main revenue is from YouTube, branded content, merch, and live. So like the SBTV hats, when I've done the collaboration with New Era, the live events where we've taken over Wireless, Festival, and a big part of it is branded content, which I'm now moving into a lot more than I've done previously. And I've now got a lady who has come. The big thing that I had to overcome is the perception of SBTV and what can a brand do to work with SBTV. And I've recently got a lady who's come from IPG and Vodafone and has those years of experience, and she's now coming into the business, and we're going to see all these different agencies and brands, and that's the message I'm now trying to push forward. But the main ones are live, merch, branded content, consultancy is quite a big one, and looking after certain artists' social channels, I guess.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up there, because that's our time. Thank you very much to Jamal Edwards.